I just watched an anime and I gotta talk about it because it's really good. I just watched the first episode of Spectre, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I guess we can begin at the beginning with this one. Wow. So it starts off with this quick little scene of a little girl, and she's sitting at the bottom of like a grassy pit. It's well lit. It's not like a gross pit. It's like a well lit little natural pit, and a voice says, "Please, please become our goddess of wisdom." And then it skips to like this really atmospheric rain scene in the city. It's really good. Oh God, I loved it. The sound of the rain and the music, everything was so perfect, right? And then it's still raining, and it cuts to this girl sitting on the bench, a girl. And she's got, notable, she has a cane. She sits on the bench, and then something in the crack of the bench tugs at her skirt, and she's like, "Oh, yes, it's already time. I see. We must go." Like something was getting her attention, like, "Let's go." She thanks whatever it was, and then she goes to talk to a guy. Now this guy is like, who are you? She's like, "You don't remember what the person who saved your life looks like?" He's like, I don't think I've had a life-threatening accident within the last while." And then she's like, "Well, remember here at the hospital," because it turns out they're at a hospital. This guy was like walking through the halls, and she saw him, and he fell backwards, and she caught him. And it wasn't really that dangerous, but he's like, "I guess you could die from falling backwards like that." She asked that he remember him. He's like, "Okay." But of course he doesn't. He gets to start talking to her, and he doesn't know who she is. And he remembers after the story. He's like, "Oh, you're that lady." I don't really... She's wearing a beret right now. In the present, she's wearing a beret. And he's like, I don't... You didn't wear a beret back then. She's like, "You can only remember a girl based off her hat." He's like, "Sorry, what could I say?" Wow. They talk. Basically, she's like, "I've had a crush on you for like 2 years, ever since that stupid fall thing." There's this beautiful scene. And she is not like a classic anime girl where she's like, "Oh, I'm so in love. I can't handle the amount of affection I have for this person." She's very confident and mature about the love she has for him, despite being a 15-year-old girl. I don't know how old he is. He's probably, at the time, I don't know how many years older he is than her, maybe 2 or 3. Anyway, but when she sees his face after she catches him for the first time, she thinks to herself, "Why does he remind me of a goat?" And she talks about how goats are like stoic. They're kind of oblivious to what's going on around them, but don't underestimate a goat because they climb mountains. They live in some of the craziest places on earth, like wastelands. I really like that because it was like, sometimes you get a feeling about someone a lot of times when you care deeply about them, and you're like this. You're like this one thing. And it doesn't make sense on the face. Like, what if you told someone they're like a goat, right? But it's like, it's poetic. Like, poets write that type of thing. Like, you're like something. I just really liked it. No particular, to each their own, but I really thought it was like very accurate to real life. Like how sometimes you just compare people you love to random things like goats. Anyway, but she gets the feeling he's like a goat. She like watches him for 2 years. The nurses are always giving her gossip about him. He is always visiting his cousin. He has a girlfriend, though. He's had a girlfriend for 2 years, but they finally broke up, and that's why she's approaching him now, because she got a crush on him. It's cute. It's all very cute. I love it. And I eventually get to the heart of the matter, like, so why did you break up with Saki, your ex? Why'd you break up with your ex, bro? He's like, "Really? You're gonna ask me that? All right, whatever." One day I was we were walking along the river, and there was a like a little water spirit demon in the water, and my girlfriend saw it and she freaked out. And like a coward, he words it really weird. He says something about a coward running away, and he's like, "Who can blame her for breaking up with me?" And then she's like, "Hold up, who's the coward that ran away? Was it you or the monster?" Because I think it was the monster, the little water spirit. You didn't freak out when you saw it, and your girlfriend did, and she thought it was really weird that you didn't, and it messed with her so bad that she broke up with you. And he's like, "Who the fuck are you? How do you know all this shit?" Like, she starts getting down to the heart of the matter, because apparently she's that girl that was in the pit. She is the girl in the pit in the beginning of the show. What happened was she was kidnapped by a bunch of forest spirits or whatever, and they're like, please solve our problems because we're kind of stupid. See, they kind of have a low intellect, and she was she became the mediator for all of them, for all the guys, for all these spirits. And she was in the forest for like 2 weeks. Eventually she was returned, missing an eye and a leg, but the wounds were completely healed over. She does not recall losing them, so she didn't really have any pain other than the emotional pain of losing that. But there's this thing in Japanese lore about becoming a god. It's confusing, but there's lore about becoming a god if you lose an eye and a leg, or there's gods out there that are missing an eye and a leg. But basically, she lost an eye and a leg, so she could talk with spirits and also people. So she's like a mediator between the world of the dead and the spirits and the world of the living. Interesting. World of people. Very cool. So he's like, how can I even believe all that? She's like, go to the library. You should go to the library and look up my name for about a few years ago, back when I was in 5th grade, and you'll see an article about it. And he's like, all right, whatever. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The next day, she just goes to the library and waits outside the door, and then he comes out, and he's just got done reading the story about her, and she's like, so you finished doing that research on me? And he's like, well, I read the story, but it says you didn't lose. How do I know that? It doesn't say anything about you becoming like a god or anything like that. She's like, fair enough. Like, that could all just be in my head, but let me show you something to you. And basically they go into the library to fight a demon that's in there. It's pretty cool. He's like, she's clearly caught him. Like, he does know stuff about this world, about the world of the dead and all the spirits. And she basically, it comes to a head when he's protecting her like a lad. He holds her close with one arm. With the other, he puts out his arm. And the demon literally comes over. It's like a big demon, and it bites his arm off. He is unfazed. Like, he's felt this a billion times, or maybe he doesn't feel it at all. The thing bites his arm off, and then it fucking explodes, and he says, I guess my flesh really is poisonous to them. And he's like, and the girl asks, what exactly and who exactly are you? And he says, when I was younger, 11, about the same, it was the same age that she was when she got kidnapped. When he was 11, he ate the flesh of a demon, basically, and he ate all he could. And that's where the episode ends. It was a great ending. I loved it. Holy shit, this was amazing. Because it starts you out, the episode starts you off with like this cute little love story, but then it slowly kind of falls into this world of spirits and stuff, and it slowly leads you into it. Really great. Also, near the beginning, I forgot to mention that she asks him out, and he's like, no, sorry, I don't want to start dating anyone right now after my last relationship. She's like, shoot. What would I give this episode? Let's just give it a rating right off the bat. I wouldn't say this episode was a masterpiece, but it was definitely better than great. I'd give this a 9 for incredible. We'll see what they got for me next episode. I'm really excited. Episode 2 drops in about a week, and I cannot wait for it.